Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. This is part two of my top 50 most valuable vintage baseball cards in my collection for 2024. If you missed part one, I will have a link to that video at the end of this video, so definitely go check it out. Now, what I really love about my top 25 cards is not the value of them. It's that I feel so blessed to have these cards as part of my collection. They also happen to be, many of them, some of my most beautiful vintage cards in my collection. Again, regardless of the value or even the grade of them, I just think they're absolutely beautiful cards. So I'm going to be turning the camera around and showing off my top 25, and then I'm going to finish with a little summary of my top 50. Okay, just like I did in part one, where I went over cards number 50 through 26, I'm going to show off the card, and then I'm going to show what the value of the card currently is, what the value was last year at this time, and how it has moved maybe up or down within my top 50. Now, for the value of the cards, I used the VCP average price for that grade, and those prices were as of December 12th. So let's get into card number 25, and that is my 1965 Topps Mickey Mantle. I've had this card in my collection for many years, and it wasn't until I purchased, maybe within the last 5 or 10 years, some of my other vintage cards that I have in BVG holders, that I decided to get this one graded. Came in at a 3, but that doesn't really bother me. What I like about it, even though it has its flaws, it's fairly well centered. The corners have some issues, which give it that technical grade, but I think that's just a really nice copy for its overall condition. Really like the centering on that. Here's the back. Can never go wrong with a Mickey Mantle. So that's coming in at number 25. The current value is $285. Last year it was $236, so it's gone up $49, and it's actually gone up 2 spots on this list. Last year it was number 27, and this year it is number 25. All right, at number 24 is a 2024 national pickup, and one that I've wanted in my collection for some time. Ooh, it's the Reggie Jackson rookie card, 1969 Topps. This was one of a couple cards at this year's national that made the top 25. Again, I was so happy to find this copy. Been looking for it for at least a year, maybe even 2 years, and just couldn't find the right centered copy, and for a price point that I was comfortable at paying. For those wanting to know, it is a PSA 5, but no print marks. That purple area there with his name nice and solid. Great centering. Here's the back as well. Look how sharp that is. Oh, so happy to finally have a Reggie Jackson rookie card in my collection. Now, of course, there's no value to compare it to last year because this is a new purchase for 2024, but it is currently valued at $293 and is number 24 on my list. The next one is sort of a companion to the Reggie Jackson rookie card and another 2024 national pickup. The 1968 Topps Johnny Bench rookie card. And this one I had wanted maybe even just slightly longer than the Reggie Jackson rookie card. This was a card that I did a video some time ago where the cards that I regret selling. I did have a copy of a Johnny Bench rookie card. In fact, I think I owned a PSA 6 copy, which this is a PSA 6 as well. Wasn't necessarily looking to replace the same grade. I just wanted a nicely centered copy at a decent price. And this one certainly fit the bill. So I am extremely happy to finally re-own a Johnny Bench rookie card. Just love the overall look of that. Again, I'm still not a huge fan of multiplayer rookie cards, but the fact that, again, that I had one in my collection about 15 years ago or so, sold it, regretted it as soon as I sold it. Now, the other thing that I liked about this Johnny Bench rookie card is with some of the 68s, the front may be okay, but the back may be a little off. And that is some pretty nice centering on the back as well. Nice and clean. Really, really happy to have this Johnny Bench rookie card back in my collection. So the current value in this PSA 6 grade is $294. Good for number 23 on my list. At 22 is one of those cards that I bought at my local card shop, some time ago within the last 10 years and had graded by Beckett, unfortunately, is my 1953 Topps Yogi Berra. Saw it in the display case, really liked the overall centering of it. Of course, the 53 Topps design is really outstanding. This one did come in at a BVG 4. Nice and clean. There's not too much that I can see wrong with it. Again, if you look really closely, yeah, you can find some issues if you want, but I choose to just look at the overall beauty of the card. There's the back. And the current value in this BVG 4 grade is $300. Now, last year, it was $194. So this has jumped $106 from last year. Now, to be fair, when I started doing these prices, and you'll see, you'll see that for some of the other cards on this top 25 that are in BVG holders, there are not a whole lot of sales of BVG copies, which is one reason why I want to convert these over to PSA. Just gives me a better sense of maybe what they're worth. For this card, honestly, to jump $106 in 1 year, I don't know. In fact, I didn't look at a comparison for PSA. I didn't try to do a sort of a crossover and say, well, what would be the value of this card in a PSA 4? Because I don't know if this would cross over to a PSA 4. So I went with the grade in the slab based on VCP prices. And yeah, not only did it go up $106, but it jumped 11 spots on my top 50, going from number 33 to number 22. All right, at number 21 is probably my favorite card of this player, and it's a national pickup a few nationals ago. At number 21, my 1971 Topps Carl Yastrzemski. I told the story before. I wanted to pick up a 71 Yastrzemski. This was very early on in terms of maybe doing a player run, but I knew I wanted to do a Carl Yastrzemski player run. And I saw this card and another copy at the same dealer's table. And one was a PSA 7 and this one was a PSA 8. And budget-wise, I would have gone for the PSA 7 to save a little bit of money to stretch my budget. But once I saw this 8, I just fell in love with it. I mean, other than a small little whiteness there in that bottom right hand corner, I can't see anything wrong with it. It is just an absolutely beautiful card. Here's the back of it as well. Look how sharp that is. Now, I have to admit, Kari Yastrzemski doesn't necessarily have some, beautiful cards. There are a lot of, portrait images and things. And of course, with Kari Yastrzemski, Topps used the same picture in multiple years, where he has a lot of duplicative pictures. So there's not a whole lot of variety when it comes to Kari Yastrzemski. I do like his 67 and other cards as well. But man, whenever I see this copy of this 71 Topps Yastrzemski, I just absolutely love it. The current value in this PSA 8 copy is $300. Believe it or not, last year it was $300. So for a PSA graded card, there's some other PSA 8s out there. I mean, this isn't like a super high. It's on the higher end of grades, but there are copies out there that buy and sell. And I just find it interesting that last year it was worth $300 and it's worth $300 today. But because of some of the other movement of cards, some additional cards that I've picked up, this card actually dropped 7 spots on my top 25. It was number 14, and now it's all the way down to number 21. But that doesn't diminish my love for this Kari Yastrzemski card. All right, at number 20 is such a gorgeous card as well. Much nicer than his rookie card, in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion. It is the 1964 Topps Pete Rose. I just love this card. The young image there of Pete Rose, that rookie cup there, the overall design of 64 Topps, I love. I love the centering of this card, just everything about it. And there is the back, nice and clean as well. Like I said, that's why I love some of these cards in my top 25. I just love looking at them. Has a technical grade of 4, but it looks nicer to me than that. I'm not saying it's undergraded or whatever. I just love the overall look of this card. So the current value in this PSA 4 grade is $308. Last year was $239. Now, that probably has something to do with his recent passing. I understand that. But it's up $69 from last year and up 7 spots from last year. It was number 26 on my top 50 list, and now it is number 19. All right, at number 18, another beautiful card in my collection. The 1950 Bowman Bob Feller. So much to love about this card. Just the colors, the people in the stands in the background, the dugout, his, pitching stance there as he's warming up on the sideline, probably before a start. Doesn't look like it's a spring training game picture. So just love everything about it. Love the centering. Love the design of the 1950 Bowman set. I love the smaller size. They're just small little works of art, every single one of them within the set. Here's the back. Oh, there's the back. And the current value of this, by the way, it is a PSA 5. And the current value is $325. Last year was $320, so up a big $5 from last year. And believe it or not, it has actually dropped 5 spots on my top 50. Was number 13, and now it is number 18. There's my 1950 Bob Feller. All right, the next one, this was a Pittsburgh card show a few years ago purchase. It's the 1949 Bowman Warren Spahn, one of multiple Warren Spawns that showed up on my top 50. This is, I believe, the final one, the highest valued one. It is in a PSA 5. It is an older slab, but nonetheless, just an overall great image of him. The one negative I have about the 49 Bowman set is sometimes you get registration issues. And on this one, it has the registration's pretty much spot on, which I liked. Nice clear image there. It does have a little bit of marks there on the background, but honestly, it doesn't. I don't notice it right away, so it doesn't bother me. But overall, clean image on the front, well centered as well. Here is the back of it. Nice copy there. Again, would this grade a PSA 5 today? Probably not. But hey, it is what it is. It's in a PSA 5 slab, and the current value in a PSA 5 is $326, up $2 from last year. Last year's $324, but it has dropped 5 spots on my top 50 list, going from number 12 to number 17. But there's my 1949 Bowman Warren Spawn. All right, at number 16. Now, here's where I'm going to start talking about cards that I have graded in, well, not quite yet. Hold on. Hold that partial thought there for a moment. At number 16 is my 1965 Topps Hank Aaron. If I can get it focused here. There we go. Really like that image. The overall colors. You got the green down there at the bottom. You got the Braves banner and the little Braves logo. That, batting stance pose of Hank Aaron. Love the overall design of this 65 Topps card. Here's the back. Now, just like the Yogi Berra, this happens to be graded in a BVG 7, which is a fairly high grade, at least for cards in my collection. The current value is $329. Last year was $260. It's gone up $69. Again, I think it's because of just the lack of sales of BVG copies. And the most recent one for 2024 was just happened to be higher than a copy that sold last year. To sort of finish that partial thought, there's some upcoming cards here that I also have in BVG holders that really haven't changed much in price from last year, and I'll explain why. But here's my 1965 Topps Hank Aaron, currently valued at $329. Like I said, up $69 from $260 last year, and up 5 spots. Last year was number 21, and this year it is number 16. All right, moving on. We're at the top 15 now. And this one was, I think, a national purchase, I want to say in 2019. I wanted to pick up a T206 card. I just wanted to pick one up for whatever reason. And this one caught my fancy because the National was in Chicago, and this player is featured in a Chicago Cubs jersey. And it is my 1909 T206 Mordecai Three-Finger Brown. Now, okay, hopefully I can get this to focus. All right. There we go. There we go. Now, that is one sharp looking card for a card that's over 100 years old. Great centering. Corners aren't bad at all. But the grade is a PSA 1. And no, now if you see some marks here, this is on either the sleeve or the holder. So if you look really closely, it looks like some scratch marks. That's not on the card. So it's a really clean card, and you may say, how can this be a PSA 1? There are no pinholes. There just happens to be a little paper loss on the back. But to me, that doesn't impact the overall look. Even on the back, really, it doesn't take that much away from the back. You still see the suite, the cap roll, and all the other information. Just some of the top, banner border design there is gone. But man, what a sweet looking card. But even in this PSA 1 grade, it's worth $330. Last year it was $294, so it's gone up $6 from last year, and has remained at number 15 on my top 50. So there's my Mordecai 3-finger brown D206. All right. At number 14 is a 2024 national pickup. You'll start seeing some themes here in this top 25, and it is my 1956 Topps Ted Williams, the white back version. I had preferred the white back, and this is just happens to be one I found in a white back. What drew this card to my attention was the centering. Some of the centerings on these 56 Topps, these for Ted Williams, fairly hard to find, well centered. I think I picked up a great copy here, technical grade of a PSA 4, but just love that second image of him swinging there, and that great image that Topps used on several of his 50s cards. But nonetheless, an overall great looking card. And there's that white back. I think it just makes the back cartoons and the whole design just pop a little bit better than the gray back. I don't think there's really any price difference between the two. I don't think one is any rarer than the other, but really happy that the copy that I was able to pick up is the white back. And the current value in a PSA 4 is $335. This is coming in at number 14 on my list. At number 13 is another card. Trying to think of the other example that I had there, but another card that I've had. Oh, the 1965 Topps Mickey Mantle. This is another card that I've had in my collection, and I had it in my collection for a long time, ungraded. And this one was one of the ones I was going to sell. I'd mentioned I sold my Johnny Bench rookie card and regretted it. This one I actually had up for sale, and I forget why, but it didn't sell. I think I may have had to buy it now, and it never sold. And so glad that it didn't sell, and I kept it in my condition or collection. And it is my 1957 Topps Frank Robinson rookie card. So happy to have this. I'm working on a Frank Robinson run, still a few cards short, and I'm glad I haven't had to shell out to buy a copy of his rookie card to complete the run. I already had it. So here is the back of that. Not the best centering, granted. I picked this up well before I was, sort of laser focused on trying to find centered copies. Maybe someday I will not necessarily upgrade. It is a PSA 5, by the way. I may upgrade in terms of a better centered card, but it's not a high priority at all. I'm just happy to own this Frank Robinson rookie card. The current value is $344, and actually it's gone down $82 from last year. Last year in a PSA 5 it was valued at $426, and so this card has dropped 3 spots on my top 50. It was actually in the top 10 in my collection at number 10, and has dropped to number 13. But again, still extremely happy to own this Frank Robinson rookie card. All right, almost at the top 10 here. At number 12, another 2024 national pickup, and that's the 1955 Topps Hank Aaron, working on trying to complete his playing days run as well. Just a couple cards short, as well as his rookie card. Just like the Frank Robinson, I have that rookie card, but I don't have Hank Aaron's rookie card yet. So that's going to be a huge purchase. Maybe at next year's National, we'll see. But it's only a PSA 3 copy, but overall decent centering. After my big purchase at this year's National, I had to conserve some money here and there. If it wasn't for the big purchase, I may have tried to find maybe a PSA 4 with just slightly better centering, but overall, really happy with this copy here. His second year card. Here is the back. Now, oh yeah, sorry, I had just a little brain fart there, but I just wanted to comment again. I love the backs of some of these 1950s Topps cards with the little cartoons and little, usually a trivia or something about the player. They really took the time back then to concentrate on the backs of the cards almost as much as the front of the cards in terms of the information they give on the player, and again the different cartoons. Obviously they had to hire a cartoonist to draw these, and they did it for every player in the set. So they really paid attention to both sides of the cards back in primarily the 1950s. So the current value in this PSA 3 grade is $362 and is number 12 on my top 50. All right, at number 11. Okay. It is my 1967 Topps Willie Mays. Now, the reason why I sort of give a little chuckle here is not that I don't like the card. I love the card, absolutely love it. Love the centering on it. Willie's smile there, the overall 67 Topps design. It's a BVG holder and a BVG 7.5, which, hey, is great. Not complaining at all. Here is the back. Really nice as well. Little off center on the back, but not that big of a deal to me for the back of the card in this case. But it's currently worth $434. And according to VCP, last year it was also worth $434. And the reason being is the last sale of a BVG 7.5 Willie Mays was February of 2022. Almost 3 years ago, a copy of this card sold in a BVG holder in a 7.5. So, like I said, this is just another example here of why I want to get this switched over to a PSA slab, just for consistency and the look of my overall vintage collection. But I don't know. Is this worth $434? I don't know. It really doesn't matter. I'm not looking to sell the card, but just for my, I don't know, just for my general knowledge and purpose, I don't, since this card hasn't sold in nearly 3 years, I don't know what the value is in this current slab, but nonetheless, I love this Willie Mays card, and it actually dropped 2 spots on my list. It was number 9 and is now number 11. My 1967 Topps Willie Mays. All right, we're at the top 10. Coming in at number 10 is a somewhat, I really do hate to use this card, but it is somewhat of a iconic vintage card in the hobby, and that's the 1953 Bowman Pee Wee Reese. Didn't necessarily have, this was maybe a 2022 National. I think it was one in Chicago. It may have been a 2023 at the Atlantic City. I can't quite remember. But even though it's in a PSA 2, I saw this card, wasn't necessarily on my list, but for a PSA 2, I loved the overall centering. It's not perfect, but in terms of budget purposes, it was an affordable card for me. And here is the back. Really nice as well. All right. And the current value in a PSA 2, even in just a PSA 2, is $466. Last year it was $410, so it's up $56 from last year, but has actually dropped one spot on my list. It was number 11. Actually, that the arrow's wrong there. Actually, it went up one spot. It was number 11 and now it's number 10. So that little red arrow there, I forgot to switch over to a green up arrow. It actually went up one spot from last year. Okay, at number 9, this was a card that I was very fortunate to pick up after my big pickup. And this was at the 2023. Yeah, I think it was the 2023 National, I think. But nonetheless, so happy to have this card, even in the grade and condition that it is in. Oh, this 1954 Bowman Mickey Mantle. Reason why I say I'm sort of lucky to have this card is you'll see a card later on in this list. I think it's in my top 5 that I picked up at that same National and spent a decent amount of my hobby budget on that card, but it was well worth it. And I don't know what made me. I saw a couple of these cards in the grade, and by the way, it's a PSA 1. And saw the price of it, and I said, you know what? I said, I may be able to afford not only this other card, but this 54 Bowman Mickey Mantle. I knew that if I wanted to get it in a higher grade, I'd have to wait till at least another year to save up enough money. Because once you start getting above a PSA 1, you're starting to get into a comma card area. So it does have its share of creases. You can definitely tell, but a lot of the creases, so if you're looking at this right now, you can probably tell that there's a crease going up that way. But you may not be able to notice the other creases in the card, and there isn't any going across his face. I will bring it closer so you can notice there's some other imperfections in it, but overall, I think it has great eye appeal for a PSA 1. Here's the back. You can notice there's some more, creases that go through the card. It does have its flaws, but man, I so happy to have this 54 Bowman Mickey Mantle in my collection. Now the current value actually went down a little bit from last year. It's currently worth $476. It was $499 last year, down $23. This one did go down one spot on my list. It was number 8 and is now number 9. But there is my 1954 Bowman Mickey Mantle. Ooh, you'll see a couple other Mickey Mantles here remaining on the list. All right, the next one at number 8 is my 1952 Bowman Stan Musial. Just an absolute gorgeous card. I love the design and the artistry of the 52 Bowman set. A great image there of Stan Musial. The stands in the background, even though they're empty. Love the centering of the card. Here is the back. Pretty nice and clean. It doesn't look to be any wax stain staining on the back. Nice and clean. Really love this card. Now here's another example. It's in a BVG holder, and it's a BVG 6. Okay, I'm not sure what this would eventually cross over when I have it switched over to a PSA slab, but I don't really care. I just love this card. They could give it a 4 for all I care. It doesn't matter. But the current value in this BVG 6 is $670. And guess what? It was the same value last year, because the last copy in a BVG 6 to sell, according to VCP's database, was July of 2023. So I know there are 52 Bowman Stan Musial cards that are sold. I don't say all the time, but there's a decent number, I'm sure, that gets sold in a PSA slab, maybe even in a SGC slab, but not in a BVG slab. So it's, I guess, technically remained the same value since last year. I don't know, maybe. And it's down one spot. It was number 7 and is now number 8. But man, I love this 52 Bowman Stan Musial. All right, at number 7, we have the big pickup for me at this year's National. I've told the story before. I won't go into the whole thing, but was definitely not on my watch list to pick up. But I saw it and it spoke to me. And I was able to work out a deal. And I'm so happy, so happy to have this in my collection. Another Stan Musial. It's his 1948 Bowman. Oh, look at that. Look at that card. The centering spot on. There's a little bit of issues in the corners, but does not take away at all at the overall eye appeal of this card. When I saw it at the dealer's table, he said that he just had it graded and he thought it would grade a PSA 4. It actually came in at a PSA 3. I can't believe this is a PSA 3. There are no creases on the card. It's just some minor issues on the corners. And I don't know. I think it's an outstanding copy for a PSA 3. I did pay on the higher end of the comps for a PSA 3, and this is the only example on my top 50 here where the current value, I looked at the highest current BCP sale. And it's $1,175. So this is the start here of some of my comma cards, but I feel that it's worth on the higher end for the technical grade, just because of the outstanding eye appeal. And like I said, I was not looking for this card at the National, but so happy that I left the National with this card. The 1948 Bowman Stan Musial, number 7 on my top 50 list. All right, continuing on, here's another example of a BVG graded card. One of my favorite cards, though, at number 6, my 1954 Topps Ted Williams card number 250, the last card in the set. Picked this up in, I think it was either 2015 or 2019 National. I think it may have been the 2019 National, but at any rate, not only is it in a BVG slab, it is in one of the old BVG slabs. So this one goes back quite a bit. They actually gave the 4 criteria there. So centering 6.5, edges, got, I think that's an 8, corners 7, surface 7.5. So if you look at, here's the back of the card. Now the back's off center. That pretty much right hand border. So I don't know, when I eventually cross this over to PSA, I don't want any qualifiers. So this one, it could get like a miscut qualifier for the back. I don't care if it dings the overall grade. I just don't like qualifiers on a slab. So I know this could very well get dinged. It could very well be down to for all I know, a 4 or 5. I don't care. I think this is just an absolutely gorgeous card. And okay, so it's currently worth $1,200. Last year was also worth $1,200, and that's because the last sale of a BVG 7 was all the way in back in September of 2015. 2015 was the last time. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the last sale that the dealer that I bought it from paid for it or won it off of eBay or whatever. Would not be surprised if that was the same exact card. So again, in a PSA slab, I don't know what grade this would be. I don't know really what the value is in this BVG 7 slab. But according to VCP, the last data available is $1,200. But the value doesn't matter to me. Just so happy that I own this 54 Topps Ted Williams and his number 6 was number 6 last year and number 6 this year on my top 50. All right, on to the top 5. Here's another example of a BVG graded card. It's my 1963 Topps Mickey Mantle. Look how sharp that is. The centering. You can see just a little bit of white down at the bottom, but other than that, it is one sharp looking card. Just, I love that portrait image of Mantle just like looking off to the side rather than just, you know, right sort of at the camera. Really great image of Mickey Mantle there. Here is the back. Really nice as well. This one, I was a little surprised when I sent it in for grading at the grade that it got. It came in at a 7.5. Now, as you can see here, the current VCP average value, or really the latest value, is $1,525, which is the same as it was last year. That's because the last sale of a BVG 7.5 was May of 2023. So like a year and a half ago was the last copy in a BVG slab to sell. I don't know what this will cross over with PSA and what that value would be, but as it stands right now, it is at number 5 on my list, dropping 2 spots actually on my top 50. It was number 3 last year and is only number 5 this year. But still love this Mickey Mantle card. At number 4, one of my very favorite vintage cards in my collection at number 4 is my T206 Christy Mathewson. One of the few SGC slabbed cards I have in my collection. And again, one that I eventually want to switch over to PSA just for consistency and look in my collection. But overall, great looking card there. Yet the corners have some issues, yes, but overall, just a clean image there of Christy Mathewson. It is an SGC3. Has a sweet cap roll back to it. Pretty clean there as well. Oh, now Christy Mathewson has sort of a local tie. He graduated from Bucknell University, and I got my master's degree from Bucknell University and grew up right across the river in the town there. And in fact, I believe he is buried at the Lewisburg Cemetery, I believe, which is the home of Bucknell University. So always wanted a Christy Mathewson card in my collection. This one may have been another 2019 national purchase. Current value is $1,620, up $266 from last year. It was valued at $1,354 and remains at number 4 on my top 50. But there's my 1909 T206 Christy Mathewson dark cap version. All right, let's keep it going here at number 3. This was the big purchase, along with my 54 Bowman Mickey Mantle. Coming in at number 3 is the 54 Bowman Ted Williams. I've always wanted this card, even as a kid. With my mom being a Red Sox fan, the fact that this is a short printed card because of contract issues with Topps, Bowman was not really allowed to issue this card in its set. So they exchanged it, card number 66, with Jimmy Purcell of the Red Sox. And so now it's not super rare. You can find copies out there, but it's not as plentiful as other 54 Bowman cards. And love the centering of this copy. It is a PSA 2.5. Just love the smile of Ted there, and just how he has his cap sort of tilted. I don't know, just the overall look. I absolutely love this Ted Williams card. Here is the back, pretty clean as well. At the time, I definitely spent on the higher end for a 2.5 in terms of comps at the time, but so glad I did, because now I have the card in my collection. And based on where it is currently worth, the current value is $1,680. Last year was $1,223, so it's gone up $457 in 1 year. Pretty amazing for this 2.5. Now, again, it's a half grade, so there aren't as many half grade copies that sell out there. So that could factor into the increase in price from last year. But it has gone up 2 spots on my list. It was number 5, and now it is number 3. But absolutely love this 54 Bowman Ted Williams. All right, the top 2 coming up here, and they are both BVG graded cards, and both of them, I don't believe, changed price from last year. But 2 absolutely gorgeous cards. At number 2, my 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle. A lot of people think maybe beyond his 52 Topps that people love the overall look of his 53 Topps. I sort of tend to agree. You get the iconic look of the 52, and that's in everyone's mind. You can close your eyes and picture the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. But a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle is, unless something really changes in my financial condition, is a card I will never own in my collection. So to be able to have a second year Topps Mickey Mantle in my collection, I'm so incredibly lucky. Here is the back of the card, pretty nice as well. It is, off center a little bit on the front, but what I like about the 53 design, especially ones that have sort of like a sky background, is the border isn't super prominent. So while it technically is off center a little bit, you don't notice it. You just notice just that artist rendition there of Mickey Mantle's image there. Now, it did grade a BVG 2.5. There are other technical minor issues that you only see upon really close examination. But the current value of this is $2,190 and was the same value last year, because the last time a BVG 2.5 copy sold was January of 2023. So again, almost 2 years ago, did a copy in BVG 2.5 sell. So again, I definitely want to get this one switched over to PSA at some point. But there's my 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle. All right, and at number 1, it's almost in the running for my favorite Mickey Mantle card. The 53 Topps is absolutely gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but at number 1, and for number 1 again this year as it was last year, my 1952 Bowman Mickey Mantle. So not only do I have the second year Topps card of Mickey Mantle, I have the second year Bowman card of Mickey Mantle. Again, I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford his Bowman rookie card, but just, I don't know. I love the little the portrait image there with his arms folded, just looking off. Looks like it appears that like a dugout shot, I think. But love the centering on this. The artist rendition, just a beautiful, beautiful looking card. Here's the back. It does have a little bit of wax staining there on the back, but it doesn't bother me at all. How can you be bothered with a card that looks this good? The current value by the way, it's a BVG 4.5. The current value is $3,526, and that's what the value was this time last year, because the last time a BVG 4.5 sold was July of 2022. So it's, again, what this will cross over in PSA, I don't know, don't care. What is this card really worth in a BVG holder? Don't know, don't care. I just love the fact that I own this 52 Bowman Mickey Mantle, and especially how well centered it is, free of any creases. It's just an overall gorgeous looking card. So there it is, my top 50, and this is the top 25 here, and this is the #1 most valuable card in my collection, the 1952 Bowman Mickey Mantle. All right, to summarize the top 50 vintage baseball cards in my collection, last year the total value of my top 50 was $21,632. This year it's $24,484, up a little over $2,800 or 13%, which you would think is good. Hey, wow, my cards have in my top 50 have gone up in value. Wonderful. Well, the more I looked into it, within the top 50 of the new purchases for 2024 that were in my top 50, those cards represent $3,186, and the existing cards that were in my top 50 from last year actually went down $334. So the net increase really in the value of my vintage cards was pretty much solely due to the new purchases that I made in 2024. So I'm showing this information here, not to brag or anything like that. I just find it interesting to track from one year to the next. And again, if you just look at the pure value of my top 50, looks like my cards have gone up in value. But in reality, it's only because of my new purchases for the year. And the ones that I had previously have actually gone down a little bit, which, again, I don't really care because I'm not looking to sell them. All right, some other information here, or interesting things of the top 50. The highest gainer in terms of moving up on the list was my 1953 Topps Yogi Berra, went up 11 spots. And the highest dropping card, or the largest dropper, was my 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle All-Star, dropped 19 spots on my top 50. In terms of the highest price increase from last year, it was my 1954 Bowman Ted Williams, which went up $457. And the largest price drop for a card on my top 50 was the 1957 Topps Frank Robinson, which went down $82. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at my top 25 most valuable vintage baseball cards in my collection for 2024. Again, right here, pretty soon here will be a link to the first part where I went over cards number 50 through 26. So you can check that out as well. And we'd love to know in the comments what you think about the cards that make up my top 25 of my top 50. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.